And we're back again. Welcome to Loaded Mag NFC, the top table talk. And we're in for our second week. And actually, this is the week because we've actually got some football that we can talk about this week. But let's get into it. First of all, Daz, how's things with you?
All good, Pete. All good. Sorry, I missed the first one when Chris was there. I got caught up in the show. Really good show. And corrected that intro. Who made a mess of it the first time? With Brighton earlier. So Brighton now, Adam, you'll be glad to hear.
I'm relieved. You've got to have the top of the table club on your graphics. That's important, right?
I knew that was going to creep in at some point. It already creeped in before we went live.
I'm going to say it as many times as I can until we drop down the table. But for now, we're good.
Good stuff. Well, it's great to have Adam back representing Brighton. We've got Charlie, Brew Brothers, CFC representing Chelsea. How you doing, fella?
Yeah, good, mate. Conference League on Thursday. Living the dream.
Well, yeah. Hey, there's many of us Newcastle fans that are stuck around.
Oh, fair, mate. You might have quite liked it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think thinking about the fact that we just missed out, I think we'd have been content with it. What do you reckon, Daz?
Yeah, we give it a go, but it's going to be nice not having just playing one game a week as well. Let's see, can we replicate what we did the season before? And I know I'm hoping to see Rich's Villa struggle with that European competition as well. But we might have a clean run of it. You never know.
Yeah, we'll see. But look, Rich, great to have you back on representing Villa. How's things with you, fella?
Very well, thank you. Very well, thank you for having me back on the show. Liking the intro music as well, freshening it up. We haven't got the goosebumps this time, but still good, still good.
We've always got the goosebumps. We've always got the goosebumps. One click of a button, we can always bring it back. No,
just so when.
Yeah, that's it. Just give us the nod. But look, football is finally back. Big weekend of Premier League football. All the action taking place. I just want to get your thoughts just really early on here before I come to Adam and we talk about Brighton. I want to just find a way up to St. James's Park for the weekend's game. What do you boys make of that sending off of Fabian Schär? What do you I assume you've all seen it by now. The incident between Brereton Diaz and Fabian Schär. Just round the table. Daz,
Pete, if they haven't seen it, let's just play it one more time. Just refresh their memory because I still have it here. Here it is.
Do you know what, right? Like, it's soft as anything. But what I would say, right, as a player, it is stupid. If you put your head in, you know you're going to get sent off. Or you're going to run the risk. So you're giving the referee a decision to make. But yeah, for a grown man to go down on the floor and collapse in a heap like that is pathetic. But I can understand why it was a red, because he's like, if you move your head towards someone, you're asking for trouble.
But is it a red card though? I mean, come on, boys.
Well, when you look at it, like in terms of like a leg breaking challenge can be a red card, and then that can be a red card. Then you probably say, actually, no, maybe it's not. But as I said, when you move your head towards someone, you're asking for trouble. Whether they go down softly or not, you are asking for trouble. So I think it's really soft and it's quite harsh. But in terms of the rules, I suppose maybe it was the right decision. I don't really know, but you would be fuming if it was given against you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's embarrassing on Brereton Diaz's perspective, and to be honest, it didn't do himself any favors for the rest of the game because he totally made an enemy of himself for the whole game, and everyone's booing him, everyone's hating him for the rest of the match. Obviously, that's his prerogative, but I do agree. As soon as you're doing something like that, you're asking for trouble. And yeah, I think there's once the referee's given it, it's not getting overturned. Maybe Newcastle can get something on the appeal, maybe, but then I think again you're sort of saying that the referee's made a mistake, and I think the bar is just about sort of satisfied in terms of the violent conduct.
I'm interested to get Adam and Potts' thoughts. Welcome in, Potts. And he just joined us.
No, man. Apologies for being late, man. Sorry.
No, don't worry. We're starting just a brief conversation about the Fabian Schär red card. So I want to get yours and Adam's thoughts.
It wasn't a red card, man. It wasn't a red card. Stupid. Don't understand that. Like, for me, we've just gone so soft in this game, man. Like, you've put your head against someone and they're like, right, get this guy off instantly. What's happening? It's like, Jesus Christ. I saw Havertz get throttled at the weekend and nothing happened. What's going on, man? Like, real talk. Like, it's just crazy for me. I don't get it. Like, I really didn't understand that one. I thought it was mad. But listen, Newcastle didn't matter in the end. You obviously got the result. But, you're pretty light at the back, Pete, from what I can work out. So you kind of need people like Fabian Schär right now. So I think he's quite an underrated player, by the way, Fabian Schär. I know people are talking about Guehi coming in, and obviously there's talks of Joe Gomez this morning as well. But for me, I feel like he's been quite a sort of solid player for you consistently. But I didn't think it was a red card at all, if I'm honest with you. I know you shouldn't really put your head up against, but I get that if that's the rules. But it wasn't massively violent, in my opinion. I didn't look at it and think it was a malicious thing to do. He's gone up, he's tried to hold his own. The other guys that have gone up to him, if we're giving red cards for that, my goodness, everyone's going to be off the pitch this season. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I don't know what Adam thinks, though.
Yeah, I'm caught between the two different opinions because when I saw it, it's like one of those ones where it's not a red card, but it looks like a red card. And his simulation of going over has only made it worse. Your hope there is that the VAR then intervenes and basically says, you know what, there's not enough in this. But they seem to be really sort of tamping down on that idea of like changing the decision that was made on the pitch. So they get a bit more strict with that. I think if he didn't give it in the first place, I can't imagine the VAR would have given it after the fact. So it was stupid. It was stupid, but Schär's head shouldn't have been there at the same time, right?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know what happened before. Like, I know Brereton Diaz was chasing and pushed him. I'll be interested to know what the ding dong was between them. Like, before that point, were they arguing with each other? Were they going at each other? Was there anything? Was there a flashpoint beforehand?
No, it's just an incident.
Yeah. So like,
and Diaz goes in with his head as well, same time as Schär. But so it could have been the other way. Schär could have gotten down, you know, or imagine if both of them went down at the same time.
I did like Dan Burn getting Larry though in the tunnel. That was nice.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. That's I think that Newcastle and not just that, Isak as well. There's been a lot of love for Isak over the weekend because after the red card gets given, he kind of goes up to Diaz and he kind of like pushes him out of the way, as if to say like, "What you doing?" And one of the other guys from Sheffield United comes over and you see him as quite like he's quite a skinny lad. He's quite light, but he showed himself there. He stood up for his teammates, which is what it's all about. But look, nobody messes with Dan Burn. I mean, he's like 6'7", 6'8" anyway, so he's a unit in himself. But he can look after himself, that's for sure. But Newcastle fans definitely appreciated that. But look, just on this last point on this for you all boys, jump in when feel free. Should there be now more scrutiny on the play acting? So you've all talked about Diaz and his reaction and how embarrassing it is. Should there be something now in place where the player, if he's overreacted in that situation, something needs to be done, either a yellow card or something along those lines? Like, it's going too far now, because if Diaz has got away with it, it could then encourage other players to start doing the same. What do we think about that?
It's been like that for so long, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's always going to be there, isn't it? Like, you do get booked for simulation and that, but it's just one of them things, unfortunately. I think, like, I don't think you're ever going to be able to fully stamp it out. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I remember years ago, Patrick Bamford did it against Villa in the Championship in that, I don't know if you remember that Leeds game where they scored and then Bielsa let Villa score. It's probably you wouldn't know, you were boys in the Premier League then, so you probably wouldn't take any notice.
We don't watch that riff-raff.
Well, Bamford did some ridiculous thing and got one of Villa players sent off. So it's been happening for years, unfortunately. And they're meant to get booked for simulation and stuff like that. I think Brereton Diaz was booked. I don't know. I think you're getting into choppy waters if you start doing stuff like that after after the fact, but it is completely embarrassing.
It's so rare they give the yellow card for simulation, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
so rare.
Yeah.
And when you
Don't
see
get
it,
much.
everyone cheers, don't they? It's like, oh, finally. So it shouldn't be like that. It should just be an expectation, not a pleasant surprise.
100%. And to be fair, David H in the chat has just made a good point. He said the ref gave the yellow card to Diaz, not for the situation with Shaw. It was actually for the push when he pushed Shaw.
Yeah.
The other bit. So, like, you know, if you put it that way, he's thrown him, that he's pushed him to the ground blatantly. You could argue, yeah, that was rightly a yellow card, but then the simulation afterwards, you could argue there's 2 yellow cards in that situation, and it might well mean that we need a situation like this where Pawson or VAR are tough on this situation, and they give a red card for that to stop players doing it.
What would you have done if it was the other way around? Just interesting to you guys, because obviously Newcastle people in the chat are like, it's a ridiculous decision, but what would you have done if it was the other way around?
We'd have a statue of Sharon at this stage, I think, Rich.
Statue right next to Sir Bobby in there.
Yeah.
Not with St. James's. But look, like Southampton fans, we spoke to many Southampton fans, loads on. There's been a big clash of Newcastle and Southampton fans after this weekend. Most Southampton fans have clearly taken it. At the time, they were loving it because they got a team down to 10 men. We probably would have been no different, but I think Newcastle United fans wouldn't have been happy with the play acting. Like, I don't think I can ever remember.
Fabian Schär's been known to,
No, not really. He's been known to go down, and Daz will tell you about that because we're on sharp spot in every game. He always gets flattered. But play acting, I don't know. Daz, play acting,
gamesmanship, maybe.
Gamesmanship, yeah.
Acting. Yeah, he could go into acting after his football career is over. Now he does like to stay down and milk it a bit of times, and he goes down nearly every game. Actually, did he go down that game? I don't remember him going down. Apart from being pushed down.
Yeah,
he got pushed down, but maybe that's why he got sent off because he didn't pick.
Yeah, maybe someone told him to get up, and that's he's listened to them. Just to stay down anymore, sure. Take it.
One to watch anyway, boys. One to watch. But Newcastle got the win. Expected, but not in the way which we did that. So I think me and Daz we've talked enough about Newcastle United from that perspective. I think we just need a signing in now. I'm going to ask you boys, yes or no, very very quickly before we come to the team at the top of the table. Newcastle United, are we going to get Mark Gay by the end of this week? Yes or no? Not going to ask you guys. we'll go around. So Potts, we'll start with you and we'll work our way round.
Yeah, man, that's going to get done. Surely that's going to get done. Like, I don't understand why Palace would want to keep a player that doesn't want to be there, that's got 1 year left on his deal. Like, it will get done. It just, Newcastle have got to obviously stump up a little bit more. I don't know how much it is now. They're saying, is it 65 million? I think that will get done, man. I think they'll come to a compromise. You'll get the deal done, and I think it's a hell of a signing, man. I really rate him.
Definitely, Charlie. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's it's too far down the road for this not to get done now. You know what? It's 4 or 5 bids that have gone in. Like you will reach an agreement, and I've welcomed the 20% sell-on clause coming our way. So I was waiting for that. Yeah.
Is he better than your centre halves now, though, Charlie?
Oh yeah, he probably is, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Bro, he absolutely is. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised we maybe haven't looked at him on a 20% discount.
That's why you know what I mean? To say anything because
I can't believe you got rid of him, man. I think you've got
Chelsea. Got rid of him a while ago, though. He only played about 1 or 2 games for us.
Yeah. Chelsea got rid of some decent centre halves in the party, like Nathan Ake, Mark Gay.
Tomori,
what's his name at Newcastle? Livramento, what are you at Chelsea?
Yeah, he was
originally.
He was at the academy, and Lewis Hall as well.
Yeah.
Basically, our fullback. So we could have
your back 4 was Chelsea's a few years ago.
Yeah, it'll be three of our academy boys. But yeah, that'll get done. It's too far down the road for it not to get. I'd be shocked if it didn't get done. It'd just be a complete waste of time if it didn't get done.
Yeah, definitely. We're in agreement with that, Charlie. That's for sure. Rich, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it gets done. Yeah, Chelsea could probably do with a couple more players, so they might come in with a bid. You never know. But yeah, I think as Charlie said, it's too far down the road now to not get done. And it's the brinkmanship, isn't it, between the clubs? Every penny, every £1 million counts, doesn't it, in terms of the profit and sustainability and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do think they'll come to an agreement. And he's a good player, really good player. And should really improve your. And I think he gets speeded up now, obviously with the Fabian Schär situation. I think that kind of forces the hand a little bit. And I believe Palace, haven't they got a couple of bids in for centre halves? I think one based in Germany or something. So they'll probably want to get that one done.
Yeah, they have. I think Fabrizio Romano's been reporting on that. I think personal terms have been agreed, but they're just sorting out a fee or something like that. So hopefully it's a 1 in, 1 out for them. But Adam, Mark Gay, do you think it gets done?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with everyone else. There's been too much smoke. There's got to be some fire at some point, right? And Palace need to sell, from what I understand, at least 1 or 2 players. I know there's an article that came out today talking about it. So hopefully you get it done. I think it would be a fantastic sign, and getting a England international as well that's going to be there for a number of years is a rarity.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one that we can definitely take advantage of. But Adam, we'll stick with you. Impressive performance at Goodison Park. Very rare that I am happy to see a Brighton win. But Everton at Goodison Park, it always makes me smile. I'm not going to lie. But look, tell us about it. Talk to us about it. Was it a performance that you expected? How dominant was that performance? And obviously, with Minter watch, how good was he?
Minter, before he went off for a supposed concussion, which wasn't actually a concussion, and he was pissed off about going off, was the best player on the pitch. I thought he was astounding. I still don't really understand, outside the financial bit, why we have him and why you got rid of him. I would have sold anyone else to keep him around, because he looks like an absolute firecracker of a player. And he fits perfectly into Hertzler's system. So it was a bit of a weird performance in that, like, Everton are a bit of a shaky side, right? I think we all know that. Defensively, they are horrendous. Ashley Young at right back, Mikolenko at left back was getting absolutely destroyed by Minter. And then centre back wise, Keane and Tarkowski have seen better days, right? So it's weak at the back. Between Minter and Matoma on the wings, everything was just being funneled out to the wings. And that's what Hertzler does. Again, this 31-year-old German that we brought in from the second tier of the Bundesliga. It's less De Zerbi style of play, which was let's pass the ball around the back for 20 hours until someone presses and then we'll attack. Or Potter style, which was we're just going to keep possession and hope something happens. This is we're going to get the ball and we're going to just go up the end of the pitch and we're going to go direct and we're going to score. And that's basically what we saw. It was all Everton for the first 20 minutes, all Everton. And then we just scored on the break and the game was pretty much done after that. And when Ashley Young did Ashley Young stuff and got sent off, the game was all sealed.
Rich, I'll come to you. Are we sleeping on Brighton this season? Invested a lot of money in some very talented players, but not really being talked about as a team that's going to be like pushing those European spots. I know it's only 1 game in, but were you impressed with Brighton? Are people not maybe giving them the credit that they deserve?
I don't know about that. I think they do get a lot of credit. I think more so for the fact that they continually, doesn't matter the coach, it doesn't matter necessarily the players that they sell or the players that they bring in, they seem to be able to maintain these a consistent style of play and good performances. Everton, I think, came into it with a bit of optimism, but ultimately the pace in the wings that Brighton have got just killed them really. And then, like you say, Ashley Young doing his thing and getting sent off didn't help them. Danny Welbeck as well, still involved, 33 years old, still doing it, still a
player of the game,
really, really good player, and just such an intelligent footballer. So I don't think anyone's sort of sleeping on them. I think we know that they're a good side. It's just whether they can put together 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row, and included in that beating a Villa or an Arsenal or a Newcastle or whatever within that winning run. And I think that's when people will really say, you know, they are real contenders.
It's an interesting one. Brighton, they've signed a lot of players. He's still not done. I don't believe he's still got one or two others.
Got a lad from Leeds, didn't you, yesterday?
Yeah, Rutter, however you want to say his name. I spent a lot of money on him as well. Like, we spent about over 150 million this window, which is unheard of for this
You
club.
can thank us for that.
Yeah, I mean, you funded the entirety of it. I really, really do appreciate it. Yeah. But those players have all worked out amazingly for you, so nothing to complain about from your side.
And the manager,
he's great. What's he doing at the moment? I expect another 3 players to come in, at least 2.
Wow.
So I think I mentioned last time around Kadioglu, the right back, left back that plays for Fenerbahce.
Yeah.
All signs pointed to him coming in the coming week. We still need a centre back, and we still need a central midfielder. We've been linked with Matt O'Reilly from Celtic. That one's coming along. If we bring him in, Billy Gilmore will go out to Napoli. And then looking at a centre back, there's been rumours. I think I mentioned Mats Hummels was a random rumour that came around a little while back. I think that's less likely. We've been linked with a chap from the Eredivisie as well. We signed a lot of Dutch league players lately, so I wouldn't be shocked if we bring him in as well. So yeah, more business to be done. It's going to have more depth in this team than we've had before. But I think you're right. People have been downplaying what we'll do this season. This idea of a regression because we sold some big players, new managers come in, like what's going to happen to Brighton? And there are still massive question marks, especially that we got to play Man U next game. Then it's Arsenal. It's not going to be that easy for us over the next few weeks. So this conversation could turn drastically, but it looks like an exciting style of football that the new manager's bringing in. We've got a ton of young players that have got a lot of talent. And it's an exciting time to be a Brighton fan. Like we're going to end up spending nearly 200 million this window. It's nuts.
Potts, I didn't realise you were playing Brighton so soon. Are you
you
keeping a closer eye on them now after that performance at the weekend?
Bro, I'm looking at Aston Villa first, man. I can't lie. It's gonna be a tough one.
Rich. Look at that smart from Rich.
I hate going Villa Park. I like going there in terms of the atmosphere, but the actual results have not been great of late. Listen, Brighton's a strange one. I don't know what Brighton are doing, if I'm honest with you, because I look at the formation and think potentially they're playing. What are they playing? 6-1-3 or something with 6 strikers. I don't know what their midfield and defense is. Is it any decent? I don't know. Maybe Adam will be able to tell me. But Pascal Gross leaving is a bad shout for me. I think he's been a phenomenal signing for Brighton over the last few years. So they'll do well to replace him. I think Ferdi Kadioglu is a good player going forward. I'm not too sure how good he is defensively, though. We were actually linked with him not too long ago, to be fair. And I thought to myself, this could be a good signing going forward, but defensively we've already got Zinchenko who can't defend. I don't really want another one. So we'll have to see what he's about. But listen, Brighton are a well-run club, man. They really are. They seem to always put it out of the bag. I know we're linked with Adingra the other day. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Adam, if you think he should stay or potentially be a good signing for Arsenal's cover for Saka, but I don't know if that one, I can't really see that one happening personally. I think it's just rumours. But I always have liked Brighton. I always have. I just think they're a fantastically well-run club that I think deserve a lot of credit and a lot of respect. I just wonder where they're going in midfield. I don't know if they've got enough in midfield. I know that you've mentioned a couple of players there, Adam, that you're bringing in. But my God, firepower. Wow. I mean, they ain't going to struggle to score goals, are they? When they've got Ferguson and Welbeck behind João Pedro and Minter. So they've definitely got enough forwards, and that's obviously allowing for Mitoma and Adingra as well, either side. I mean, they've got some absolute firepower going forward. So if they can get their midfield right, then fair play. All I will say lastly is I don't know what this manager's about, man. I mean, is he only just passed his driving test and allowed to drink alcohol? I mean, how old is this guy? It's just crazy for me that this guy is like years younger than me and he's managing Brighton. So I don't know what he's about, but we'll soon find out. Certainly a very impressive weekend. And people will say, I was only Everton, but it's a hard place to go, man. Yeah. It is. It's a hard place to go, Goodison Park. Like, it's a really good ground and a real horrible, hostile atmosphere against Sean Dyche football now as well, which we might add. I was really impressed with it. Out of everybody this weekend, that was the result that I went for, because I actually had that as a draw. I actually thought that would be a difficult game for Brighton, because you know what it's like. We all know what it's like going there. It's horrible, right? So I'm really impressed, and maybe I've put Brighton down a bit too much in my prediction, because I had them sort of floating in between mid-table. Maybe they can push for top half and maybe even surprise a few people if they get a couple more players in, like Adam's saying, man.
Definitely. It's going to be an interesting one with Brighton. I think after that result of the weekend, Adam's just said they're not done in the window. I think everyone's going to be keeping a little bit more of a closer eye on Brighton, that is for sure. But look, I'm going to come to you, Potts, in just a second, because I'm going to come to Arsenal. But however, there is a super chat in there, so we'll just throw this up. It is going sort of left field back to Chelsea, but thank you to Doug for your super chat.
Cheers, Doug.
From Colorado, top guest in chat. Who does the panel sell if they ran Chelsea? Now, could be a long
That's a show
list.
in itself.
Yeah, could be a long list there, boys, with the amount of players that Charlie's got in his team squad. But who do you sell if you ran Chelsea? Let's go like for your top three. Let's just narrow it down. Your top three players that you would sell for Chelsea if you could right now.
I've got to remember the squad list. There's about
Yeah.
400 of them.
Yeah,
I'll make it easy. I'd
Go
sell
for it.
Todd Bowley because he's useless. I'd sell Ed Barley because he's rubbish, and I'd sell everyone that has and that circus of a club at the moment. So I'm sorry, Charlie, but what the hell is going on at that club?
I
Honestly,
think
it's
three
a mess.
three outgoings is quite straightforward for me. Lukaku, Sterling, Chilwell. Those are the ones. Those are the three main ones. Like,
Honestly, if I run Chelsea, I'd get rid of that. That bloody ownership is just a disaster, mate. But I can't really disagree with what Charlie said there. I don't think they're clearly looking at Lukaku as an option. Kepa, he's got to go. Is he still there?
yeah.
he's got a year left on his deal. He'll go.
He's got to go.
That's Sanchez, the goalkeeper.
Oh my god!
I wish.
You're welcome for him.
I wish he'd go.
Great signing.
He's shocking.
He's a championship goalkeeper. He is
Adam's happy
absolutely.
about that.
We were laughing when you bought him.
But
Like,
you
we
know what's
couldn't
mad, though?
believe it.
He was one of the best keepers in the league under Graham Potter at Brighton.
For
And
a
then
little while, he did well.
and then he's just fallen off a cliff. He's awful.
Chelsea have to stop looking at Brighton. There are other teams other than Brighton.
You know, men signed anyone from Brighton this summer.
There he is. There's still 10 days.
No, we're good. We're good.
Do you think? Are you happy, Charlie? With what's going on? Because I don't know where you're at with it. I'll share content with you very rarely, but when I do, you always seem like quite level-headed. I don't share content with very level-headed Chelsea fans, mate. Let me tell you that. And they seem to be very, very happy with what's happening at the moment, without saying any names, Don. And I can't understand how the hell they can be happy with
mate,
this.
I was at the game with Don on Sunday. It's for me. You can't be happy with what's going on the football pitch. You can't, because the team's underperformed for 2 years now. There's been heavy investment, and look, ownership coming for a lot of criticism, rightfully so. There's a lot of things they've done wrong, but you can't knock their ambition to invest. The ambition's there. Maybe it might be slightly misplaced and slightly misguided, and whether you agree with the players that are coming in or not, there's nothing worse than having owners that don't spend money. So like, fair play to them, they spend money. Some of the players that have come in, like some are good. I think they're probably going for a volume approach where, you know, the more you bring in, the more likely that more of them are going to do well. And look, there've been some good signings. Palmer, phenomenal. Gusto's going to be great. You know, there's a few others out there. Jackson, I think, is a good footballer. Pedro Neto, I think, is going to be very good for us. Look, it's not all doom and gloom. The signings haven't all been terrible, but there's no getting away from the fact that, you know, this is the third year now since these guys have come in, and we're yet to get this so-called project up and running off the ground. We still need to bring a striker in. We've known that for 18 months and it's not come in. So I can understand the negativity surrounding the club, but I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I can appreciate like the good things, but also fully aware that this is a huge, complete step into the unknown with Enzo Maresca. You know, we've brought in a manager now who plays the way that we want to play, and that's going to take time to implement. And look, I'm not like, you know, around other fan bases as much as I am Chelsea fan base, but you've got to be patient. And Chelsea fan base has got virtually zero patience. There's nothing in the middle either. It's either this is all going to be amazing or it's a fucking disaster. Like no one's kind of level-headed in the middle where you can appreciate that there are some really shit things, but also appreciate there's some good stuff and accept that this is a massive gamble. The whole kind of strategy has been built on a gamble because you're buying players based on them becoming as good as what the data is telling you they're going to become. But there's no guarantee that these guys are going to be that good. So, like, I'm kind of optimistic about the season because whatever way you look at it, Chelsea have got quality in their squad. The quality's there. It's just whether we can get it all to click together. I don't look at Chelsea and think, oh Jesus Christ, we spent all this money and we haven't got any good footballers. What are we doing? There's some really good footballers in there. Joao Felix has been added to the mix now. I didn't necessarily think that was a necessary signing, but it does increase the level of the squad. So I'm sort of in the middle where like I can appreciate that things aren't great and things haven't been great for a while, but I can also appreciate that it's not going to be like that forever, and we've absolutely got the quality to finish in the top 4. And we can win trophies this season. I mean, it might only be a Conference League, but like we can do it. So I'm kind of in the middle. I think there are positive signs. I thought we actually played okay against Man City. I don't think we got played off the park like a lot of people felt we did. I thought we competed reasonably well, and it's hard to judge a new team off one game against City. So I'm going to be watching very carefully, Thursday night against Servette, Sunday away at Wolves, Palace at home the next weekend, and we can find out a little bit more about this team. But there's some positivity, but like there's also still kind of a big kind of cloud of uncertainty hanging over it because like it could literally go in any direction. We could come 3rd or 4th, or we could finish 10th. Like there's such a big scope of things what could happen. So I'm kind of just going to strap in for the ride for the 3rd season on the bounce.
I think though, Charlie, like with £1 billion spent now, whatever the hell it is, right, whatever the actual figure is, and I'm looking at the Chelsea side, and I'm thinking they don't have a world-class goalkeeper or a world-class striker, and they're two of the positions I would have got at the start. Like for me, I would have looked at. Do you know what I mean? And like I look at and then you've spent 100 million on this Enzo. No one knows where he plays. They're trying to play him 8, 10, box to box, but he doesn't get in the team for me. Palmer, I would play Palmer, Caicedo and Lavia. That would be my 3 in midfield. Honestly, I don't think this Enzo gets in. So you spend £100 million on him. The centre-back partnerships I don't really think are good enough. I know Tosin has just come in, but you got Fofana and that Badiashile. I think that Colwell was overrated. I think he's a good player, but he's not outstanding like some people, the Chelsea fans, will have me know. And I look at it and I think, how could we be taking Chelsea seriously when they don't have got Sanchez in goal and Jackson up front? Like I don't know, man. If I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be gutted. I'd be like writing, going, "What are this ownership doing?" But most of the Chelsea fans are like, "Yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. It's quite good. I can see future." And I'm thinking, maybe I'm watching something different then because last time I was looking at Chelsea with Drogba's up top,
mate, you're spot on. Like I've made this point so many times. The amount of goalkeepers we've signed and the amount of money we spent on goalkeepers. We bought 3 goalkeepers in the last 2 summers, and we spent like nearly 60 odd million quid on them. Like you see the difference signing a top class keeper makes and the top class centre forward makes, and we've got no presence in either box. And that's a big problem. Any successful team has got a top level keeper and a top level striker. And we spent all this money. We've bought some good players in, but 2 massive positions on the football pitch have not been addressed. And look, I'm going to hold judgment on this window until it's closed. But I won't be able to put this window down as a good window if a striker doesn't come in. Yes, the arrival of Pedro Neto is exciting. I think he's a top quality player. I mean, I think Arsenal could have maybe done with someone like Neto. I think he's going to be a very good signing, providing he can stay fit. Joao Felix, look, is a quality operator. I remains to be seen whether he can improve his end product and kind of actually realise that the ability that he's got. If we can add Osimhen, and it's a big if. It seems like we're in a 1-horse race, but we could easily end up, coming second in it and losing out to someone last minute. Osimhen comes in, and I think the narrative maybe starts to change a little bit around Chelsea if that happens. But until that point, I think it's perfectly fair to criticise the fact that all this money's been spent and all these players have come in, and the most important areas of the pitch haven't been addressed. So I think that's a totally valid point to have, and I would agree with it. But if Osimhen comes, then it's great, but it also means that Chelsea have to come fourth. There's no excuses. That's all that's missing from the squad now. A striker, okay, whatever this Jorgensen guy is going to be like in goal, I've got no idea. He can't be any worse than Sanchez. And then if Osimhen comes, there's no excuses. There's no excuses now if a top striker comes in. Everything's there. Now we have to do it. And there's only so long people can keep protecting the players for saying, these are good players. The evidence will be on the football pitch. If we go for a third season and these guys don't perform, then it's legitimate to say, how good actually are they then? Like people love to, sort of big up their players perhaps to a bit better than they actually are. But the evidence will be on the football pitch. And if it's a third season on the spin where these guys haven't really delivered, then there's genuine conversations to be had that actually the players we've bought are nowhere near as good as we thought they were. And I hope that, this time next season, I'm not sitting there having that conversation.
Well, there's two good questions in the chat, Charlie, Chelsea related. And first of them comes from Charlie Tune for Life. Question for Charlie. The rumours are Chelsea will get a transfer ban in the coming months. Is there any truth in those rumours?
I think there's a possibility for sure. There's the Premier League investigation into the stuff, what happened under Roman, I think kind of dodgy payments to third parties. We know he was a dodgy geezer. He was great, but, we know he was up to all sorts of wrongdoings. Let's be honest. Look, the transfer strategy would make a lot more sense if they were preempting a transfer ban. If it could be what 2 to 4 windows maybe if it does happen. So that would maybe make a bit more sense. We have to wait and see what comes from that investigation, but that it's not beyond the realms of possibility. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind a transfer ban just so we can stop buying people and just focus on what we've got. So yeah, it's a possibility, and it would make more sense if the strategy would make more sense if that were to happen. But at the moment, we have to wait for the investigation to run its course.
You know what? You're right. That would actually suit Chelsea. I hope they don't get a transfer ban now.
That'd be fantastic.
That could actually be dangerous if they did. But another question comes from Foxy. Can you ask Charlie to tell his club to stop ruining all the South American prospects and stockpiling them as well all over the corners of Europe, destroying Angelino, Andre, Enzo, Caicedo, and next they'll ruin. He's listed loads more. So, what do you think of that?
That's a little bit. I think it's a bit harsh because Angelo hasn't even played for us. He's purely bought to be sold for profit. Andre Santos, they believe in as a big talent. He's gone on loan to Strasbourg again. I don't think you say Caicedo's been ruined. I think he's been very good for us, certainly over the second half of last season. Enzo, divides opinion. I think there's a top quality player in there. You only have to look at how he plays for Argentina. Like, he's not a bad footballer. It's about finding where best suits him. And then look, Anselmino, no idea what he's going to be like. He's not going to come until at least next year anyway. Esteval and Paez are meant to be two of the best talents in South America. There's got to be excitement around them. Whether it's going to work out, we've got no idea. But these are the sort of signings that Real Madrid used to make when Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo's and whatnot. Let's see what happens with them. And then Gabriel Mech, he's 16 years old at Gremio. No idea what he's like. That deal's not gone through yet. So I think it's a little bit disingenuous to say that Chelsea are destroying South American prospects because none of them have actually had a chance to really show what they can do for the football club. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens. But the upside is there. And look, football clubs, whether people like it or not, are a business as well. And a lot of these players will be bought and sold for a profit. The likes of maybe, so I think it's a little bit harsh to say that Chelsea are ruining South American prospects. It's tapping into a market that we've not normally tapped into, hoping to get top quality players for a cheaper price. That's what we're doing. I don't think that's a crime.
I think it's a bit harsh that it's not just South American players you guys are ruining. It's people from all continents. So, that's
right.
Yeah,
look, I mean, I don't know, but I think players have thrived. I think players do well for us. It's not everyone's a disaster.
No, but it's something where look, Charlie, it's something where I think Chelsea fans are going to have their.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
With the amount of signings that you've made, with how big with what just over a week and a half to go in this window, the amount of players that are still consisting of your squad.
They'll be gone. They'll be gone.
They will, but at the moment, it doesn't look likely. There were one or two that are just starting to filter out. But I think with signing that many players and spending that much money, regardless of what you've recouped in, there will always come pressure. I think Potts, we were talking about this the other day, like just
always pressure at Chelsea, always.
Chelsea
that
will
thing
have
that Errol sent today, Pete, of the 191-year contracts that Chelsea got, if you add all of that, is absolutely mad, man.
I don't know if anyone's seen that's I think Sky put it out in terms of like every club's players in their squad of how many years each player's contract's worth. They were accumulated together, and like everyone's is I think under 100 years, and then Chelsea's is like 191. So it's like over 100 years more than the second place in terms of how many contracts. Like it's just madness. But I think that's just because of the amount of players that you've got, and as well the length of contract.
Everyone signs 7 years when they join, basically. So it's no surprise. But no one's making them sign it. By the way, they're happy to sign it.
No, I don't think anyone's got an issue with the player.
I'd sign it, yeah.
I don't think anyone's got an issue with the player signing it. I think the player looks at that as financial security.
Yeah, of course.
Like he knows that player signing that. Mudryk, for example, is nowhere near hit the heights that he was expected as let's say when he was rumored to be going to Arsenal. I think the heights of his expectations were massive.
It's not got there yet.
When you've got an 8-year contract. Like, even if he isn't playing well, like, does he care? Like, you've got a situation now with Raheem Sterling where
I hear you, yeah.
your club want him gone, but he's still got 3 years left on his contract.
Yeah, he's got 3 years left. I don't know. Look, there's pros and cons to it. Absolutely, there's that comfortability with where players think, you know what, I might not need to perform. But how many times have we seen that when players perform, they get a new contract, and then they're shit? They perform for the contract and then it doesn't happen. It's not just a Chelsea thing. This happens everywhere. See it with Rashford. I think Aubameyang at the time at Arsenal as well. Like, this is not a new thing where players perform to get a contract and they're comfortable and they kind of sort of don't down tools, but they don't reach the levels they were pre-contract. It works both ways. There's that job security or whatever. But of course I get it. There's that comfortability within players. Obviously, of course, there's reasons why they're offering them and whatnot. And look, only time will tell whether it's going to be a good thing or not a good thing. But yeah, I think the contract length's probably the least of my worries right now. But at least Palmer's here till 2033, so we're all good.
It goes back to that question that was asked, though, right? Well, like, what 3 players would you get rid of at Chelsea? It's not like which ones necessarily. It's which ones can you get rid of? Because
Chelsea are good at selling
they don't
players.
need to leave. Like, most of these players don't need to go anywhere. They can just sit.
I don't worry about Chelsea selling players. Like, one thing, like, not just with this ownership, but in the past, Chelsea have always been good at selling players. Like, if you pull the stats up, not only now, but like if you look at the stats over like who's made the most money from selling players over the last 10, 15
De Bruyne,
years,
Salah,
we're always top of the list in terms of selling players. So like, I don't worry about us selling players. Obviously, when you leave it to the end of the window, you're not going to get as much money as you wanted. You're going to have to start accepting loan deals that you perhaps didn't want to accept in the first place. But like the squad size, like I get it. It's kind of open season on Chelsea. It's easy to poke fun at the squad size. When you see the graphics with the names of the players on there, like some of them aren't even at the club anymore. Still, a lot of them are academy players, and most of them are going to be sold. So, like, I think it's a valid conversation to have at the end of the transfer window, if it was still the case. But yeah, it's kind of open season, so I get it why people poke fun at it. But for me, it's not really it's only a conversation if it's the case at the end of the window.
Let's revisit this next week, Charlie.
Let's revisit it next week.
Let's revisit it next week and let's see where we are. A lot of things can happen in a week, and hopefully you've got 15 players that can be sold in that time.
Yeah, no problem.
Todd Bowley's in the chat as well. So he's writing all those names down.
There you go. Todd Bowley's in the chat. I think he took issue to what Potts said to him about selling him and getting him at the club. But Potts will come to you.
He has already signed some of the names Foxy mentioned, so there you go.
There you go. Potts will come to you. Arsenal. We talked about all summer is needing a big start and having a big season ahead of them. Pressure on Mikel Arteta. You got the win against Wolves at home. Comfortable win. Were you happy with it? And how do you see yourself progressing now you got that first 3 points on the board, mate?
Yeah, it's not an easy start, to be fair, Pete. Not the Wolves game, just the first few that we've got. We've obviously got to go to Villa Park White Hart Lane, and the Etihad in the first 6 games, which is 3 massive grounds to go to in the first opening 6 fixtures. So for me, it's going to be having to hit the ground running. I think we did that against Wolves. I thought we were fairly dominant. I don't think that we absolutely destroyed them in terms of how well that we played. I've seen us play better. I thought Havertz and Saka were the two that shone, to be fair. Saka, I mean, the kid gets so much disrespect, man. The guy's played a phenomenal amount of football in the last 5 years consistently now, and was one of the best players, in my opinion, in the Euros that England had. And, you know, still doesn't look knackered, the kid. It's just crazy how this guy keeps going. He's a machine. I honestly believe, though, that we need to do something in the window to stop that, because he will go bang at one stage. You know, it is going to happen. At 22 years old, you can't play somebody from 17 to 22 every single game. An opportunity, I understand, is important, and I know that there's definitely the kind of hypocritical people that will say, well, where's the Salah slander, because he plays every single game of every single tournament, and I get that. But Bukayo Saka at 22, you know, I want him to make 26, and at the moment he's not going to if we keep playing him in every single minute of every single game. It was good to see him come off. It was. We definitely need to look at that position in terms of getting somebody in to replace him, or not to replace him, you know what I mean, to have cover for him.
Yeah.
But for me, we still need an attacker, and it's a crazy thing to say when we scored 91 goals last season, and Havertz scored and Saka scored, and we had great chances. But there are those moments in games of last season where Arsenal needed that killer, and people say, well, we had 91 goals, Trossard scoring, Saka scoring, goals by committee. It's all great, but are people telling me that they don't want to add a 25 goal a season striker to this Arsenal side? Like, if you're saying we don't need that, I would question that and disagree with that massively, because I feel that although there's not many out there, it would be something that Arsenal absolutely need. And if we are going to be selling Eddie Nketiah, which looks like we are now, Nottingham Forest are massively interested. And if we can get anywhere close to 30 million for him, I think we've done incredibly well, in my opinion. Then if that happens, then I think we need to go and get Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon and really go and push that signing for me, because that is, for me, the one that I think is looking most realistic.
Brighton legend.
Brighton legend indeed, Adam. Yeah, I don't know what Brighton were doing getting rid of that. No, I'm joking.
Potsy, would you take Tony? Would you take Tony at cut price deal, like 40, 45 mil? Would you take that?
Yeah, I would, bro. I absolutely would take that. I don't think that's going to happen, Charlie. Looks like he's Saudi bound. I don't think Arteta wants Tony, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he does.
I think he'd be great for Arsenal.
Yeah, I do. And a lot of people don't like that signing for some reason, bro. Whatever reason, they seem to think that is not the way forward. But we need to get an attacker in. We either go and get a wide forward and keep Havertz and Jesus up top, or we go and get a striker and we use Jesus wide. And I personally believe Jesus is better as a wide man. I like him. I think he's a great footballer, but he ain't clinical, bro. And Havertz as well, as he's like Charlie. He can have a great moment and then a bad moment, right? So I feel personally we need somebody consistent up there. The striker I want isn't going to happen. Obviously, it's Isak. He's staying at Newcastle. So we've got to go and be realistic about where we go next. And I think Victor Gyökeres could be that guy. For me, Marino, I don't know why it takes Arsenal so long to get these deals done. I don't know what is happening here. This is a guy.
That was meant to happen weeks ago, wasn't it?
Oh, bruv. This guy wants to come to Arsenal. Fabrizio Romano has been recycling the tweet out about 20 years now. It's absolutely embarrassing, man. Just get this deal done. What Edu and Arteta are mucking around with. Just get this guy over the line, man. Just pay what's needed. We're talking about a midfielder here who wants to come to the club, and it's about 30 million euros, and we're trying to pay it in fucking installments, excuse my language. Like, what is going on here? Just pay the bloody money, man, and stop mucking around.
He's quality. Like, we were good, as you know, we were gutted to lose him when he went to Real Sociedad. He's a quality player.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, man, because we need a left 8 and a Calafiori coming in with Timber as well. I think our left-hand side will be sorted, because it has been a mess, to be fair. We had left 8 last season. We had Rice playing there some games. Havertz started there. Smith-Rowe and Fabio Vieira and Trossard were allowed to go there as well. And at left-back, I mean, crikey, take your pick. I mean, it was Zinchenko, Kivior, Tomiyasu, Timber. So now having Calafiori and Marino to that they start. And that will, I believe, allow Trossard to continue and hopefully Martinelli to flourish, because he's got to sort his life out, mate. He's been terrible for a while now, Martinelli. He needs a big season ahead of him. But it's just that attacker, Pete. I hope we get that attacker afterwards. There's rumours that Ramsdale and Kivior could be on their way out along with Eddie Nketiah. Ramsdale on loan to Wolves, which I'm not particularly happy about. It doesn't sound like it's an obligation. It sounds like it's an option to buy. And obviously, Kivior is actually linked with Palace today, but apparently Serie A clubs are looking at him as well. So I think when them players start to leave, then we could go for that attacker in the last few days. And I hope that we get one, man, because there's going to be a massive rumour about Arsenal potentially not bringing in an attacker. And I think if we don't, I honestly think the title will go to City with them strengthening with Savio and Gundogan, who looks like he's coming back. So, yeah, man, that's where I'm at, bro.
Yeah, well, we've got Hamza in the house, Man City fan. He's always got an opinion on all things. But Potts, before you go,
yeah,
you're in City for the title again this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sleeping on Liverpool, I must say, because a lot of people are, but I don't think they've got enough to go for the title without a number 6. I really don't. I think they needed to go and bring in a Zubimendi plus a couple more. I think they need another left back. I think they need another left winger. And I actually think they need a number 9 because Jota's just made a glass as much as he's quality. I think Liverpool have got quite a lot to do. And I think their board are a disgrace, by the way, not backing Arne Slot at all with any signings, just expecting him to get the best out of Harvey Elliott and Bajcetic and make do. I think is just a joke, if I'm honest. But that's Liverpool. I do fancy Arsenal and City to go at it again. I can't predict between 3rd and 10th. I've got to say, I think that is anyone's. I really, honestly do. I mean, I've given my predictions. You've seen them, Pete, and I tried my best to stick up for Newcastle, but they're all coming for me on stream. But I mean, for me, I personally do feel like it could be anyone's from 3rd to 10th. It's absolutely mad. You could just put the teams in and just like go, right, stop. That's the order. And you wouldn't say it was wild. You know, it really is absolute madness for me. But I just think Arsenal and City have got too much quality. Unfortunately, at the moment, as things stand, I don't think Arsenal have done enough to win the league. But that could change. You know, there's 10 days to go. And if Arsenal bring in that attacker and sort their left-hand side out, I think we'll give Manchester City a really good run for their money. And hopefully we get across the line this season. Listen, Arteta's got to win a domestic cup for me this season, at least, at the bare minimum. If we don't win a trophy, I can't really defend those that want to keep him in because we've got to look at this realistically now and say, how long is it going to be until we actually win something under this team? That's the way I see it. And, you know, it's hard because that conversation comes up and it's horrible. Having to have, do we keep the manager Arteta in, Arteta out, all this nonsense? Let's just see what we do, man. Let's have that conversation in May.
It's weird that comment is like the anomaly in there.
I thought they were giving it to me then. I read the last bit and I thought, fair play.
Dan, just before you go, what do you think of this social media battle ahead of Saturday about who's the best manager?
Oh God! I blame Robbie.
It's not even a debate though. It's not.
I blame Robbie, man. I honestly, I sat in front of him, Robbie and Yardman. I was waiting for my fan cam, and I actually thought they were going to put some boxing gloves on. It was like, Jesus Christ, this is mad. Like Unai Emery is a better manager than Mikel Arteta.
Miles better.
Have it right. He's got a CV that says I win European trophies, and Mikel Arteta is not. It's simple. I understand. I think the question was put wrong to them both. And I think Yardman was so heated that he couldn't articulate himself well enough. So what was basically happening there was Yardman was saying Unai Emery's a better manager. He's probably the best after Pep. But the way that it was said and that come across was that Unai Emery would do a much better job than Mikel Arteta has with this crop of players. And that's a question that none of us can answer, right? I think Arteta is probably what Arsenal fans would say is what we need right now. Unai Emery was not. But you can't tell me that Arteta's got a CV that looks anything like Unai Emery's. So as far as I'm concerned, and I was asked this the other day, who were the top 5 managers in the Premier League? And after Pep and Unai Emery, I really struggled, if I'm honest. I really struggled after Pep and Unai Emery because we're putting up Ten Hags and, you know, Marescas and like people like
Eddie
this.
Howe's.
Eddie Howe's, yeah.
You're coming in the comments, Charlie.
I mentioned Eddie Howe and everyone laughed. I can't remember what stream this was on. It might have been on my show. I was with Tom Canton, and I did mention Eddie Howe, and the chat started laughing, and I thought, well, that just tells you the level we're at then with managers. Where are the managers that are out there? Obviously, they've all left the Premier League because Pep's the only one left, really. So, yeah, that's where we're at. But, mate, I'm looking forward to the weekend, but I'm nervy because Villa, I think they've got a good chance of doing well again this season. I think they've got a good manager. I think they've got built their squad up, and I think it'll be difficult, man. So that's where I'm at, Pete. That's where I'm at.
Potts, pleasure to have you on as always. And Adam, I know you've got to shoot. Obviously, being
Cheers,
stateside,
Dan. Cheers.
pleasure to have you
Legend.
both on. And
Cheers,
if
guys.
anyone's not following these guys on socials together, BHA, and of course 12 Man, make sure you give those guys a follow and watch their content. Boys, it's been a pleasure.
Big up, lad.
Take care.
Great show. Take care,
Yes,
man.
guys.
Speak to you soon.
Catch you later.
See you, boys.
See you later, mate.
And as those boys have just head out, we've got Hamza in the house. Hamza, how are you, fella?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very well. How you guys doing?
Not too bad.
Oh,
Not
good.
too bad.
Welcome,
I
Hamza.
thought you might weigh in on that Arteta Pep conversation, not Arteta Emre conversation. I thought you might have an opinion on that, but you kind of held off a little bit. You didn't get involved in it.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I laughed when that was included because you think Arteta has done well at Arsenal, but listen, it's all about winning. Football's about winning trophies. You have to respect the heritage about winning cups. He's done so well. Unai Emery did well at Sevilla. He won 3 Europa Leagues, was it?
Yeah.
And he won it with Villarreal.
Yeah, they beat Man United, I think, in that one.
In the final.
And he beat Arsenal in the semi, is it? He beat Arsenal.
He knocked out Arteta.
Arteta, yeah, exactly. So you have to respect that. There's no way you can rate Arteta for just coming second to a manager who's won cups. And the problem is Arsenal fans have this delusional thought that they can talk about being big without talking about major cups. And to me, Arteta is under pressure this season. He's under huge pressure, like huge pressure. Like City are not under pressure because they won 4 in a row. If City do 5 in a row, it's crazy. Like, what are we doing here? And let's put it right. Like, if City had not won, if we had won that league title during COVID, City would have probably done 7 in a row. That Liverpool break stopped us. That Liverpool win, that Liverpool title stopped City going like 7 in a row. That's incredible. No one does. That's Bundesliga's level. That's Bayern Munich's level. That's what they do every season. So, to me, I'm looking at Arteta like he has been given the funds. He's been given the funds as much as he can. He's bought players after players. Like, I know he's done well at Arsenal, but he's been given a left back called Zinchenko. 6 months later, it was Kivio. 6 months later, Tomiyasu was being played there. A year later, Timbo's been given as a left back. Now we're hearing Calafiore. Well, like, the guy is spending so much money. He's signing Fabio Vieira, putting him on the bench, not utilizing for 40 million. Like, Jesus got taken away from us, being benched for Arsenal. And Arsenal are just using these excuses of trying to suggest that some of them are saying that it's about competing with Pep. It's about competing with Pep. But listen, it comes to a point where you've spent so much money, you're expected to win cups, FA Cups, FA Cup at least, and he hasn't won anything at all. I think he's a good coach. I had good things about him at Man City when he was a coach. Those things about him with players and how good he was with players, and he was able to learn from Pep. But the question is he that manager to take Aston to that top level, that extra level, that winning level? That is a manager. And to me, I banter Arsenal fans sometimes. I said, all you need is to do what Leicester did, win 1 Premier League, man. If you win this year, I'm gonna say you did what Leicester did, and they get annoyed for that. So you're under.
They need to sign Vardy. That's what they need to sign. So
Exactly. They could have had him 10 years ago, couldn't they?
Exactly. I think Arsenal are under pressure to win this year as well. And to me, Unai Emery has done an incredible job. He's an incredible manager, but he's just never had a good top job. He hasn't had a job like Real Madrid.
Yeah, that is true. And Hamza, you've segued us nicely onto Aston Villa, because Unai Emery has continued his good form, finishing 4th last season, Champions League on the way. Tough start for you, Rich, going to West Ham, but you got the job done. And not only did you get the job done, you got the job done with a striker that they wanted to score the winning goal. Look, you've got to be happy with that day's work at the weekend. 3 points on the board, tough place to go, up and running this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been up and down the length and breadth of the country over the last 8, 9, 10 years on the opening day of the season and never seen us win. So to go to West Ham and a ground that we haven't done well at in terms of the London Stadium and Upton Park in recent years and get that win was fantastic. And it was written in the stars with regards to John Duran coming on and scoring the winner. I mean, it was fate. It was always going to happen. But I think what really impressed me was over pre-season, and people can take a, a lot out of pre-season, or they can kind of just dismiss pre-season as literally just fitness. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, and there's parts of pre-season that I wasn't particularly happy with in terms of the structure of Villa and sometimes the lack of chance creation and that kind of stuff. But watching the game on Saturday, the first half, well, the first 35, 40 minutes, we should have been 3 or 4 nil up. And the way we were closing the play down, the way we were creating chances, Morgan Rogers running with the ball, and Amadou Onana scoring after 4 minutes and just dominating midfield. Yuri Tielemans, it was just absolutely fantastic. And I was like you said, I was quite wary going into a game against West Ham with kind of the feel good factor and the transfers that they'd made. I was a little bit wary. So for the performance that we had, I thought it was actually more controlled than the 2-1 scoreline suggested, to be honest. And I know they could have scored right at the end, but it was an excellent performance from Villa and one that put a lot of supporters' concerns, I would say, a little bit to bed. And very excited for the rest of the season. And they don't come much tougher again on Saturday against Arsenal, but it's a really good test for both teams. Really good test for both teams, and will really set us up for a good season if we can get a decent result.
Definitely. I'm going to come to Daz, Charlie, and Hamza now with regards to Villa, and I'm going to ask you the question: can Villa do it again this season? Lots of people have kind of talked Villa down. Some people have said they might still get European football. I think some have said they don't think they'll get European football at all. Can Villa do what they did last season again? Have you seen enough from them to suggest that they can do it? I'll come to you, Daz, first.
Yeah, well, like all last season, I was waiting for them to falter, but they never did. They had a great season, obviously. This season, I'm waiting. I'm expecting, I'm hoping and waiting. I'll be waiting all season for them to have the same effect that happened to us in being in the Champions League. But there at the weekend, there's two sides: West Ham with a lot of new players, Villa with a lot of new players, and I suppose can't really judge it on that either. So let's play it onto a few games, and when Europe gets up and running, and that's we'll see the real test for Villa. But yeah, they could surprise a lot of people and be able to manage it. Maybe they might get lucky with injuries. We didn't last year, but it's an awful lot of new players to gel as well. But it will be very interesting and a great season for you, Rich, to look ahead.
Yeah.
I remember us last season were all hope and expectation, but then it just started to crumble.
Oh, mate,
I
absolutely
November.
agree. I can't wait, to be honest. But I think the couple of things on that is we already had the Conference League last season. I know it's not the standard, but we had to cope with Thursday, Sunday matches for a majority of the season as we got to the semi-final. And a lot of the time, the Sunday game we played, we actually had a good result. Now, I understand that the standard of the team that you're going to be playing against in the Champions League is a hell of a lot different. But I think the Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday is a little bit of an easier time scale to manage. And then also, what he's done this season is he's changed the profile of the squad a lot more. He's got a younger profile of player and a more physically strong and physically capable type of player. Like if you look at Amadou Onana, Morgan Rogers, Ross Barkley, or John Duran, who's going to stay with us now, I would have thought all big players, all about able to physically cope with the rigors of the Premier League and hopefully the Champions League. And the goal that we scored on Saturday, the winning goal, that was 3 substitutes that came on with half an hour to go that linked up to create that goal. So you bring Ian Matson on for Luca Dean, you bring Jacob Ramsey on for John McGinn, and you bring John Duran on for Ollie Watkins, and they're combining to score the winner. And then you've also got Ross Barkley on the bench, Emi Buendia on the bench, Boubacar Kamara to come back to fitness, Tyrone Mings to come back to fitness. That's a hell of a squad and even there's other players that weren't even on the bench. So I think he's addressed a lot of the squad issues. But yeah, you are right. You've got to get a bit of luck with injuries as well.
Definitely. Charlie, I know you got to shoot in just a second, but your thoughts on Villa and potentially being up there challenging with you for those top European places?
Yeah, look, I think they've invested really well in the squad in the summer. They made some brilliant signings, the likes of Anana, add some real quality to the team. Keeping hold of Duran could be a big plus for them. He looks like a really talented boy. If Watkins has an off day, at least you can maybe rely on him to do something like last weekend. I like what Villa are doing. Martin's a brilliant signing as well. From us, I think he's going to be a real plus for Villa. And there's a lot to like about the football club. It's a team that's definitely on the up under Emery. Yes, as Rich said, they're used to the Thursday, Sunday with the Conference League. Last year, of course, we all acknowledge it's a step up in terms of quality of opposition. And it'll be interesting to see how Villa cope with that. They've got the squad to do it. They've got the players to do it. And for me, a little bit similar to you lads a couple of seasons ago, getting the Champions League. No one's necessarily saying you've got to get there again the next season, but be in the mix, get European football again, become a side that is getting European football, in multiple years on the spin, whether it's Champions League or Europa League or whatever it is. Get that feel for being a European side that qualifies, through the league season in, season out. And I think Villa are definitely stepping in the right direction as a football club. You only go back, a couple of years, and you are almost getting relegated under Steven Gerrard. The trajectory of the club has been massive. The players are really good. The manager's fantastic. As a Villa fan, I think I would imagine there's very little to be negative about at all. And there's no reason why they can't do it. I think for me, if Villa come 5th or 6th this season, that's a fantastic season. Brilliant season. So, yeah, they've got the players to do it. They've got the manager to do it. You're going to need a little bit of luck with injuries and whatnot. See what the draw's like for the Champions League. Obviously, it's a new format now. It's not your group stage like it was before. So let's see kind of what level of opposition they can face. But they've got options now, and a lot of them, particularly in those attacking areas as well. They can freshen things up. A lot of options in midfield as well. So I think there's lots to be excited about at Villa, and there's no reason why they can't do it. But for me, I think they'll end up coming a bit short. I think they'll ultimately end up being 5th or 6th, which, as I said, it's a fantastic season.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Charlie, I know you've got to shoot.
Yeah.
So pleasure as always. And look, I'm gonna keep you to that.
Charlie.
Next week we'll come back. We'll come back.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Squad observations.
Yeah, we'll do it. Nice one, guys. Cheers. Thanks so much as always, mate. Nice one, lads. Take care. Cheers.
See you later, mate. Hamza, I'm going to come to you about Aston Villa. Impressed with what you're seeing from them?
Absolutely, yeah. They're an impressive side. I think they play like a team. Football's a team sport. They're balanced. The key thing there is the structure. The structure is they've got a manager there who's got experience. He's got experience in Europe. He's done it before. He's done it at top level, a La Liga against the big sides there. I trust Unai Emery. He's a good manager. He's a top manager. And you know what? Respect to Villa, to get players like Morgan Rogers, he was at Man City Academy back in 2019. He's now playing very well. I remember him. He was supposed to go to the top, and I thought, he's another youngster that's just going to go downhill. He's done very well. They got this John Duran, who City are talking about strikers last night, and I was talking with Martin Mancunian Way, and we're talking about whether John Duran is a guy that we should be going for Man City as a striker, and he looks very good. He's only 20 years old, but he looks solid. He has a bright future. I don't know how they scoop that guy. And you look at John McGinn, they've got playing Ross Barkley, he's got experience. I think Villa will make top 4. I think people sleep on Villa. I think they just probably need 1 or 2 signings, and I think Villa are good. I think Villa can get that top 4. Is the fact that City are strong, Liverpool strong, Arsenal strong, and I think that top 4, people sleep in that top 4. I don't think Tottenham, Tottenham's Tottenham. I don't think they can make it. Or Newcastle are dangerous. Newcastle are another dangerous side. So I think it's going to be a tough. People are going to fight for that top 4 position. No one can predict who's going to be top 4. Last year, look what happened. And I think it's going to be a tough one. And I think it comes back to about keeping your players fit, rotating that squad, and making sure that you prioritize. It comes to a point where Villa might make the round of 16, but then you got to play Premier League and an FA Cup. You have to throw it away. So that's when you need the big boys. You need the experience, and you need to be not too greedy. And I think Villa can make it. Villa can make it, but that Newcastle, Tottenham, United, I don't think they'll make it there. Chelsea possibility, but I think it's the Newcastle, Villa are mainly there.
Hamza, you can come again. I think on behalf of me, Daz, and you can come again. You're talking well about Newcastle and Villa.
It's music to Rich's ears as well.
Yeah, I'm loving it, mate. I'll let you carry on talking, Hamza. This is.
That's what I said. All three of you. I'm watching this 3 Hamza as you're talking, and we're all kind of just nodding our heads in agreement. I like this, but look, it's only right to talk about the champions.
We've just signed another lad from Man City, Kane Taylor.
Yeah, super chat in from LB, who's a Man City fan. Kane Taylor, another one.
He was at Villa's academy, and then Man City took him.
Yeah,
and now he's gone back to Villa's academy.
Oh, right.
Now he's come back to Villa. Yeah,
this is the ping pong. But no, like I said, I don't know too much about him. Didn't know about him at all until that super chat came through. Thank you, LB, for that one. But I just wanted to just touch on finally Man City, the champions. There was question marks. It was almost like the media were hoping for a little slip up from Man City. Rodri wasn't in. That was the focus on Sky Sports in the build up to the game. But you went there, got the job done. Are you thinking 5 in a row this season?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility. I think we have to be careful. Let's go back to before the season started. Like, the signing, we haven't made the right signings like last couple of years. Phillips not been the right one. We wanted Newcastle to take him, and then West Ham, January, people were praying. It never happened. He went West Ham on loan, and then suddenly they realized this guy's not the right guy. They sent him back to us, and now we've sent him to Ipswich on loan. And then Nunes hasn't hit the thing, and we were stressed. We were stressed this summer. At all talk, I don't know what Newcastle fans were hearing. Bruno Guimaraes.
No.
A Newcastle fan, so he doesn't like that. He's like, I hate Man City already. And that Bruno Guimaraes, every City fan I was talking to is all about Bruno Guimaraes. We need to get that release close. We need to get that quickly released. When he expired, we knew. Listen, there's no way. Newcastle don't need the money. They're gonna be a big club. They're a big club. Like this
Captain
guy,
Bruno.
and I'll be honest with you, the passion. He's lucky to play for Newcastle because the passion that is there with the fan base, like literally, Newcastle is just heritage. The people of Newcastle just love football. They give you the love. Many players would have said, "I want to go to Man City." Easy. Why is Bruno not come out? I told City fans, why has he not come out to say that he wants to go? Because Rivaldo's told me in that interview that he has to leave. But Bruno Guimaraes is loyal. He's kept his mouth shut, and he said he wants to stay. And because the love that he's been given by Newcastle, and he's adored, he's loved. A lot of players can see Newcastle will probably do well, and they'll slowly they'll get there. So we didn't go for Bruno Guimaraes. For us, it was a stressful summer. We needed a midfielder. We were scared if Rodri goes injured, what's going to happen? And so come this Chelsea game, we were very nervous. No signing. Alves has left. We never replaced Gundogan. Mahrez, we didn't get the replacement. We were given this Savinho kid from Girona. I had good things about him. I knew he's good, talented, but no one's going to say he's such an amazing talent so far. Come to the game, I think City did an amazing job. Kovacic sat there, and we played well. Kovacic had an amazing game. Wow. An amazing game. For a player that Chelsea sold for £25 million, that they replaced with 270 million pounds. and he dominated that midfield by himself. It begs us to believe, like, how did Chelsea lose a player such as Kovacic and Jorginho for 10 million, 25? That's worth 35 million. And they went and spent 100 million on Enzo Fernandez. So to me, I just saw Kovacic as an outstanding player, but we still were crying for a midfielder. Now we're hearing this Gundogan coming. What a signing! What a signing!
Free transfer as well. Free transfer.
Happy I am now. I am so happy. I'm over the moon. The whole Man City fans, and now we got that belief. Forget the 5 in a row. The treble is on now. Real Madrid, we're at war now. We knew Real Madrid. We were talking about this. Real Madrid have signed Mbappe. We need to go for that Champions League. We're the only challengers for that. We need that Champions League again. And Gundogan signing now has made me get that belief. Forget the league title. We're looking further ahead now. It's about the Champions League, the treble back again. Because last season we were close. We were very close. We were very close. We got knocked out against Real Madrid when we dominated them. We dominated them. Both legs we dominated them. We could have scored in the 87th minute with KDB. Open chance on goal. A tap-in, and he missed it from all the players. Then they packed the bus. They took out Vinicius. They took out Rodrigo. They packed the bus. They took us on penalties. And then we lost on penalties. And we didn't deserve. And then the FA Cup, our players went drunk and celebrated, thought they could just turn up, and they lost the game. So City got nearly to the treble. So now, that's why Pep Guardiola, as soon as we heard Gundogan is ready, City did not hesitate. We never go back. Even I had to tweet and say, listen, it's the only chance I can say. If your ex wants you, you must go back to your ex. So, to get Gundogan on a free, oh my God, to me, listen, Newcastle, you're going to keep Bruno Guimaraes because I don't have beef in Newcastle, but I think this is now giving us the hope. I just wanted to sign for me to say, yep, I'm ready now. I'm ready to win the league. Arsenal can bring whoever they want now. We're ready because Gundogan in midfield, Kovacic in midfield, Rodri in midfield, Bernardo there, KDB there. On the wings we got the young Savio. Look at him against Chelsea. The boy is only 20 years old. The other side we got 19-year-old Doku. Both were cooking on both sides. Savio was cooking Cucurella. Doku was cooking Gusto, who's a fantastic right back. And you look at them, you see 19 and 20. How impressive. Grealish still on the bench. He can come on. And he looks at a squad that I'm happy. I am happy because I know the experience that Gundogan brings. He doesn't need transition. He doesn't need to be told where to play. He knows how to play. He knows Man City. He'll just gel in straight away. And a player with experience like that who can get into the box. There's not many players who can get into the box and score goals like Lampard, like Gundogan. And he knows when to make the run. He's a smart player. He's able to pass in the right time. He knows when to attack. He doesn't just run around. So he's a player that can play for 3 more years. And he was the best player for Barcelona. And they lost him because of infighting, of him criticizing a young squad who was just not wanting to win. And he's not happy because he's seeing, what am I here? I've just come from the treble. These guys are happy coming second. So to me, I think the trouble's on. I've always said one thing. I said, win as much until Newcastle are coming back. Because I'm scared. I'm telling you, Newcastle are dangerous. Thank God there's that spending.
We're coming.
If wasn't the
Hey,
case,
if it wasn't for PSR,
We'll be there.
And my friend told me this. I remember. He said, I remember in the stadium when Newcastle got bought. He said, don't worry about Man United. Worry about Newcastle. Those are the guys we should never want back. So you know what? Win as much as until other clubs are back. Yeah, I think 5 in a row is on.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be having these conversations in the next few years. That's for sure. And who knows? It could be the three clubs on this panel right now having that conversation with Rich well in there as well. Look, Rich, just to kind of finish on Man City. I asked Hamza the question to begin with. Do you think it'll be 5 in a row? Is anyone else or of Man City giving you any reason to think that they can't do it again?
Villa are winning the league this season. I know what you're on about. That's going to get cooped up, isn't it? Look, seriously, a lot of people talk about Arsenal and maybe the lessons learned from last season, and maybe they've got a little bit more of a ruthless streak and all that kind of stuff. But then you watch City and you look at the quality that they've got on the bench, let alone in the starting lineup. You look at the system that they play, look at how players can just slot in. You look at Haaland, who was injured for most of last season, still managed to score boatloads of goals. This season he's had a proper pre-season and he's back scoring goals straight away. And you just think, you can't see anyone stopping them, and that's the truth. You know, they just seem to be able to win. I mean, they were third gear on Sunday if you're lucky, and the dispatch of Chelsea, where there was a lot of positive talk about Chelsea. Yes, they're going to lose 1 or 2 games, of course, but they'll always come around in February and win about 15 games in a row and walk away with the title. I can't see anything different right now. The one question I've got is, does Jack Grealish come back to Aston Villa on loan?
Well, you know what? I wasn't going to get into it because obviously we're coming towards the end of the show. But to be fair, I had it in. I think we talked about it on Loaded, it just in our chat at one point during the summer, thinking that Grealish could well go back to Villa. Do you see him leaving
Champions League?
Do you see him leaving, Hamza?
No, I think Grealish has got future at City. I know I could. You know, one player I failed even to mention, like that Grealish on that side, Doku on the other side, Savio on the other side, and Oscar Bob. I don't know whether you guys
haven't even mentioned Phil Foden, Hamza, and he came on at half time.
Yeah, Phil Foden came on at half time. Oscar Bob was amazing preseason. I thought, what? He was fantastic. He was the best player. Like, he killed Rhys James, one of the best right back now. He killed him. We beat them 4-1 with the youth team, like nearly, who has 4 youth players. Nico Riley, Oscar Bob, McAtee as well. I looked at that and thinking, Oscar Bob was the future. And then now you look Grealish, Doku, Savio, and I'm thinking, God, Grealish, what a talent. I think Grealish was exceptional for us, especially in that treble season. Without Grealish, we don't win the treble. Uncomfortable conversation. People expect Grealish to score 30 or 20 GA or 10 goals and 10 assists. That's not his game. Pep doesn't care about that. Pep prefers a player that keeps the ball possession, releases to one other player. The other guy releases to KDB. He passes, goal. And Grealish is that kind of player. When going gets tough, I don't think... I know Villa sold him for £100 million for us. I think we would only sell him back for £100 million. He's that worth.
Yeah, I don't think he's an Emery type player. Being brutally honest, I don't think he's an Emery player. And I think the ship has sailed now with Jack Grealish, you know, but he's moved on. Villa have moved on. And yeah, we'll always love him for what he did. But, you know, for us bringing us back up into the Premier League. But I think those times are gone for now.
For now, we say. But look, Man City did start strong. And who have we got next week?
We've got Ipswich Town at home.
Okay, so yeah.
Good luck with that, Ipswich.
Yeah, any of you got your fantasy teams ready, then you need to put Haaland captain on that one. That's for sure. But look, we'll wrap up for today's show. Massive big up to everybody that's been on the panel, come and gone. We've had the likes of Potts, we've had the likes of Adam from Together BHA, we've had Charlie as well on here, and of course we've got our final panelists. We've got Rich from Villa Park Pod, and we've got Hamza Talks Ball as well. Pleasure to you all. From me and Daz in particular, massive thanks for you coming and joining us today. Really, really enjoyed the chat. And Jimmy,
cheers, Jimmy.
Jimmy is always with a nice comment in there, as he normally does.
A nice comment. He doesn't have Chris to pick on, so he's picking on me. Thanks, Jimmy. But I'll be talking a lot more in the next one. Don't you worry about that, Jimmy.
It was a sarcastic, nice comment because
Yes.
he's always going to have a dig at one of us. If it's not you, it's Chris. If it's not Chris, it's me. But look, if you haven't already, everyone click the likes. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And this is going to be a weekly show, weekly panel. We're going to get people on like Rich and Hamza to talk all things Premier League football, certainly at the top table. But yeah, huge thanks. Big up to Rich. Hope you enjoyed it, Rich. Your first one, hopefully, of many.
Yeah, mate. Anytime. Love coming on this channel. Love what you boys do. And yeah, thanks for having me.
And yeah, as I said before, make sure you subscribe to Villa Park Pod. Some great content on there. And I think you got Pots on this week for the big match preview.
Yeah. So we're on tonight with the fans forum, and then we've got Pots on Friday for the opposition preview. So yeah, plenty of shows to look out for, everyone.
Get involved in that. And Hamza, where can we find you, fella?
No, normally I'm on Hamza Talks Ball, and I do my watch-alongs, and mainly I don't do regular show, but I'll be doing it regularly, and I'm on just Twitter, just having conversations there with other people, and I'm just happy, man. I'm just happy enjoying my season, man. Pray for me, guys, man. Pray for me, guys.
I can tell. Make sure you follow.
We're coming for you, Hamza. We're coming. Watch out.
We've tweeted out for the show, and we'll tweet out from the Loaded account as well. We'll put everyone's tag, everyone that's on the panel tonight. Make sure you're giving Rich and Hamza a follow on their Twitter accounts as well. Some great content on there as well. And Hamza, we'd love to have you back when we do a weekly show. If you can make it, we'll definitely be in touch and have you back on as the season progresses. But that's us, Daz. That's us. We're wrapped up.
That's it. Shout out to the Radiator Shed and to Manscaped as well. I'll tell you about more of our sponsors in the next show. But thanks everyone for joining. We may have a show tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled on that. Few things, a few moving parts there. There's 3 possibilities. 2 of them involve us having a show tomorrow. One of them we can't control. Let's say it's nature. Right. Take care, everyone. See you soon. How'd you like that?
Drink it.